Hi everyone, it's Simon Keeling here and this is weatherweb.net. Thanks again for watching. It is Friday the 26th of July and as always a reminder that the site's kept free of charge because we have adverts around the screen, and when you come back and use the site and use the adverts, that's what keeps us free of charge, so thanks for doing that. Now, big story is going to be one of thundery rain tracking northwards during the course of Saturday. That's going to be the focus of this look ahead, and also we've got the updates on the month ahead models as well, just to show you as well. But if I go through all the information I want to show you, goodness me, this video will be about half an hour long, so we'll try and chop it back a little bit. So we'll start off with the rainfall. This is total rainfall from the high resolution Met Office NAE model, and this is through from now until midnight on Sunday. So it goes from midnight on Friday through to midnight on Sunday. And notice here, this is from weatheronline.co.uk by the way, and you notice these increased totals of rain here. Look, we're looking at totals of around 40 millimetres plus with these purple zones here, but for most areas looking at totals of between 10 and 25 millimetres, so that's up to an inch of rain. Also pretty wet too, look across western Scotland and Ireland, but it showers there, whereas this is thundery outbreaks of rain moving northwards out of France. Now, it's all a little bit hit and miss at the moment as exactly how this thing progresses. This is the updated forecast of total precipitation that was issued from the 6 o'clock run this morning, and you can see the difference between the one that I've just shown you and this one. Look, most of the rainfall now is predicted as being further east, and we've got these zones here of purple of 40 millimetres plus. Still got the same amounts though through Scotland and through Ireland. So you can see the model trying to shift it all a little bit further east, but I have to say I think the message from this is going to be one of the fact that we are going to see heavy thundery bursts of rain, and much of England and Wales is going to be affected through Saturday evening and overnight into Sunday morning. It's just difficult to pinpoint exactly when, where and how much just at the moment. Now, why is it we're getting this thundery rain? Well, let's take a look at the 8:50 temperatures. This is valid for midnight tonight, so this is midnight going into Friday, and just watch here the contour here, this red contour, the demarcation between yellow and green colours. That's basically the 10 degrees Celsius mark, and just watch what happens. You see how this plume of warm air, look, is moving northwards. This is the position at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. Then by midday, the warm air, look, has travelled further north through the Midlands. And then by 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, look, it's reaching northern England, all being wafted northwards on this southerly wind. And then overnight, look, it's still passing its way northwards. This is by 1 o'clock on Sunday morning. And basically what's happening here is that the air at surface levels is warming up, and that means that we get a greater temperature contrast between the surface and upper levels, which destabilises the atmosphere, which enables the large cumulus and cumulonimbus clouds to form. And you can see here that the area of low pressure that's going to form at the surface also has a low identifiable look in the heights further up too as we go through the atmosphere. And then by 7 o'clock on Sunday morning, the cooler air is starting to come back in, look, from the southwest, and effectively killing off the heavier of the rain as these temperatures just cool into Sunday afternoon. So that's the short term. What about the longer term? Well, this is the forecast from the Japanese Meteorological Agency. Their model, their month-ahead model, has just become available today, the updated version. And this is week 1, so this is taking us forward to next Friday. So that brings us up to Friday the 2nd of August. And what this is showing us here are the height anomalies of the 500 millibar flow. British Isles you can see underneath here, and you notice here we've got this deep trough look that's just west of the country, indicating the more unsettled conditions that we're going to see during the coming week. And not only do we have lower than normal heights, we've got lower than normal pressures as well in here. Look, this is the pressure anomaly for the same period, and the blue colour showing us where pressure is lower than normal. So with low pressure sat out here towards the west, we're going to have a southwesterly flow through the country. So it is going to be a warm week, but a more unsettled one than we've been used to. Into week 2, which takes us forward from Saturday the 3rd of August through to Friday the 9th of August. And again, British Isles is in lower than normal height. It's got a ridge out in the Atlantic, and we've got this trough still, look, through the British Isles. So with low pressure towards the north, what we could find is that most areas are still in a a cooler, showerier week during this period. I don't see a washout particularly, but with the jet stream overhead, I think there will be some rain or showers at times, particularly across more western and northern areas. Surface pressure is showing lower than normal again, not by a huge amount. It's sort of 2 to 4 millibars. And you see here we've got the Azores high out of the Atlantic, and that's got more of a ridge extended in the Atlantic here. But what that in turn does, it brings more of a west to west northwesterly flow through the British Isles. So this is the reason for me saying that I think northern and western areas are likely to see most of the showers or outbreaks of rain. Not that much off towards the east. And now looking into weeks 3 and 4. So this goes forward from the 10th of August through to the 23rd of August. And again, look, lower than normal heights. In fact, quite a deep trough out here in the Atlantic during this period is forecast. So again, the Japanese not really seeing much of an improvement in conditions, although I do still think that what we will find is a ridge building back into the south during the period from about the 10th onwards, and I still think that pressures will start to rise, so we should find better conditions coming through during this middle stage of the month, although probably not to the extent that we've just seen. Surface pressure is showing us below normal, and really just up to the northwest of the country, significantly below normal. So got low pressure in there, trying to run fronts in from the Atlantic, and this means that sort of Scotland, Northern and Western Ireland would become quite wet, whereas more southern parts of England probably on the dry side, although can't rule out the risk of some outbreaks of rain here at times, or some showers. What's interesting though is that we also have the long-range output from the Korean model. So how does that see things? Well, this is how the Koreans see surface pressure anomalies in the middle part of August, and I've got to say, this looks a better solution to me. You see, what they have is, here is the Azores high, but you'll notice that above normal pressures across much of the south of the country. And I think this is probably going to be nearer the truth. So drier conditions across more southern parts of England and Ireland, but lower than normal pressure across northern and western Scotland, bringing the rain there. This ties in more with what I think. So I do think that from about the 10th, but it's somewhere between the 10th and the 12th of August onwards, probably not for too long, but I do think we'll see these more settled conditions settling back in again. And if we just take a look at the later part of August, you'll notice how the Koreans have the high pressure slipping off towards the east here. They have low pressure up towards the north, and they try to dig a trough in from the northwest. They keep much of southern and eastern England in that higher pressure, so keep it drier, but keep Scotland and the north of Ireland in the wetter, more unsettled conditions. Now, I actually think that we will be turning more unsettled late in the month, but I do think it's probably going to be from the 20th onwards that we see the more unsettled conditions coming through. So there is this backup for this idea of the middle of the month actually starting to improve. And then for early September, well, I'm not sure I buy into this one particularly, but they have higher than normal pressure out towards the west, lower than normal pressure in the Mediterranean, and they basically keep us in fair and generally drier conditions through this early part of September. So the Koreans wanting to make the end of August and beginning of September basically dry. I think that the end of August goes unsettled and the beginning of September is unsettled, but this is something we're going to need to watch. And the reason I watch it is because the Korean has proved itself in the past to be quite a reliable model. So we certainly need to be watching this one very closely. And incidentally, this is what the Koreans think for autumn. Now, this is what they forecast earlier on in July. This is for August, and they said that, well, pressure is likely to be higher than normal across most of the country during August. Now, actually, it's not too far wrong, because what they'd got was this area of low pressure out towards the west. That's probably going to prove itself to be a little bit further west, but their overall story wasn't that bad, although we didn't follow it here at WeatherWeb because we thought that low pressure would be in. For September, look, what they did originally was they kept lower pressure to the north, so bringing in these westerly winds, bringing more unsettled conditions through the British Isles through the month as a whole. Now, of course, what we've just looked at was just the early part of September where it said high pressure. This is the mean for the whole month, and they go for a more unsettled month across the whole of the country. And then for October, well, in October, they've got lower pressure in again, so they keep us in lower pressure with a trough mainly out towards the west and keep western and northern areas wetter than normal with the east and south drier. So the overall impression from the Korean was actually to go into an unsettled autumn, and I have to say, I kind of back up this idea. I do think autumn could well be unsettled, rather wet and rather cool, and that could lead us into some pretty cold weather during the winter months. And that's the sort of information we've been feeding to private clients over the last few weeks in our autumn forecasts, saying that we thought it would go wetter and cool through the autumn months leading into a cooler winter. I'll have a full autumn forecast for you pretty soon. Of course, we're entering the last month of summer, aren't we, on the 1st of August? But I'll have an autumn update for you pretty soon. But for now, thanks for watching weatherweb.net. I know stacks of information in this video, so if you need to watch again, feel free to go back and watch again. Don't forget, we're kept free of charge by the adverts around the screen and by you using the site. And once again, thanks for watching, and bye for now. And of course, keep the sun shining.